Hello everyone and welcome back to another Clash of Scratch Scratch tutorial. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to make a dodge game in Scratch. This will be part 1 and there'll be more following parts to this tutorial. But before I get into the video, I would like to thank you all for amazing 57 subscribers. I know that might not sound like much to you, but to me, every subscriber means a lot. So, thank you all again, and without further ado, let's get into the video. To start off, let's go paint a new sprite, and this sprite is going to be our player sprite. So, for our player, I'm just going to use a basic square. You can change it to whatever you want, but for this tutorial, it's just going to be a square. So, click the rectangle tool, and holding down shift, you can make a perfect square. And of course, you can make it whatever color you want, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to make it a plain blue color. Well, let's go to a code now. So, when green flag clicked, we want to broadcast a message, and this message is going to be begin, telling our code to begin our game. So, when I receive this begin message, I want to set this player's position. So, I want to set its X to 0, and I want to set its Y to -140. Now, let's drag out a forever loop, and put the set Y to -140 in the forever loop. So, our player is always down here. Next, drag out an if statement, and go to sensing, and drag out a key space press, except we're going to change that to key right arrow pressed. So if key right arrow pressed, we want to change our player's X position by 7. Now we can duplicate that and change this to a key left arrow pressed. And if our key left arrow is pressed, we can change the X. Instead of 7, we can change it to -7. So now, if I use the arrow keys, I can actually move our player. So, next go on to code our enemies. So, paint a new sprite, and this time, let's use the circle tool. And you can zoom in, hold down shift, and you can make a perfect circle. Beautiful. Now, we can change this color, so I'm going to make our circle red. That looks good. Okay, let's go to the code now. So, when green flag clicked, we want our circle to hide. And then, when I receive begin, we'll want it to forever create a clone of myself. But also, we have to drag out a wait 1 second. And we can change that to, let's say, wait 0.4 seconds. So, when I start as a clone, we want it to go to XY. And the Y is always going to be 180. However, for the X position, we want it to be a pick random between, let's say, -220 and 220. And of course, we want to show. Next, we want it to repeat until, and now we drag out a less than. Repeat until its Y position is less than -179. We want to change its Y position by -10. And when its Y position is greater than 179, we want to delete this clone. Okay, now let's see. So, if I go full screen, as you can see, we have our falling red balls, which you have to dodge. But currently, if you touch them, well, nothing happens because we haven't coded it yet. So, let's go back into our enemy code. And if we are touching our player, then let's say we make a variable called player health, and we will change our player health by -1. And let's go to the player, and when green flag clicked, we want to set our player health to, let's say, 3. Of course, you can change this if you want to make the game more difficult. Set it to a lower number. If you want to make it easier, you can set it to a higher number. And of course, when we change the health, we want to delete this clone. Also, we want to drag in an if block. And if drag in a less than, if our player health is less than 1, it means our player is dead. So, we can go, put this here, and let's broadcast another message. This message, we can make game over. Okay, so let's go and paint a new sprite. And let's name this sprite Game Over. And selecting the text tool, we can write Game Over. And I'm going to do this in all caps, but you can do it whatever you like. You can also change the font if you want, but I'm just going to use the basic font. Now, we can resize this and drag it out to make it a lot larger and make sure, as always, to center it. Now you can change the color if you want, but I'm just going to leave it red because it looks good. Let's go to the code. So when green flag clicked, we want this Game Over sign. We want it to hide. However, when it receives Game Over, we want it to show. And also, we want to stop all. And in front of that show, let's just put in a go to 0, 0. Okay, so let's test this game right now. So when I click the green flag, our player health is 3 and I'm dodging all the red balls. But when I hit one, let's see. Oh, my health is 2 now. Hit one, it's 1. Hit another one, it's Game Over. Now one thing that annoys me is that our blue player, you can still see a player when it's Game Over. So let's go to our player, and when I receive Game Over, let's make it hide. So let's test this again. Let's go in, let's play, we're dodging, and oops, we get hit by one, we get hit by another one, and hit the last one. Yes, it says Game Over, and we can't see our player. Now let's add one more variable, and this variable is going to be our score. Oops. So this is basically the score of our game. Now, when we start, we want to set our score to 0, and whenever one of these red balls hits the edge and disappears, we want to change our score up by 1. So, if we go in and test this now, as you can see, our score is 0. Oh wait, I forgot to do something. Because we hid our player when the game ends, we have to make him show when the game begins. So, we can simply drag out a show block here. Now, as you can see, our player appears. And look at our score. Whenever one of these red balls hits the edge, our score increases. And if it hits our player, the score doesn't increase and takes off our player health. So, let's see. It's fully functional, and in the end, you can see your score. Well, that is very good. Next, I want to go to backdrops and make a better backdrop, because plain white, if you like it, you can keep it as plain white, but I prefer a light grey color. So, you want to change the saturation to 0. Doesn't matter what the color is, because your saturation is 0. And then change the brightness down to, let's say, 80 something. And then, you want to convert to bitmap, select the fill tool, and click. Boom! We have a beautiful background. Also, we can go and name our sprite one. Let's name this Enemy. So, if we go in now, everything is playable, and we have a very, very, very basic but playable dodge game. Well, so we've reached the end of this tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed. Remember, this is only part 1, so I'll be uploading more videos continuing this tutorial in the future. We're going to add lots of new things called new enemies and upgrades and all sorts of power-ups and boosts. It'll be really fun, so stay in tune and have a nice day. See you later.